Nico, I'm flat, mate. I'm very flat. Disappointing night. Series on the line, 80,000 people, and they dished out something. It was pretty disappointing. What was the mood like after the game? You went in the sheds, we were around there. Laurie, after the game, I was surprised, actually, to be fair. Laurie was very relaxed. Previously, when he'd lost series, he just looked rattled. I don't know. There was this sense of, like, Queensland were great, but New South Wales lost that series, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost it. They lost it in Perth, Michael.
Yeah.
I was in the sheds last night. You're right. I feel flat. We spent 6-7 weeks with these guys nearly every day. You almost become part of the family, in a sense. I was feeling flat. So I can't imagine what Laurie's feeling like this morning, what the players are feeling like. But surprisingly, in the sheds, Laurie was calm at the press conference. Isaiah, you could see the disappointment, but the mood was surprisingly upbeat. It brought me back to Parramatta after they lost the grand final in 22. I remember going in there.
That went well after.
It was like a blue and gold party. It's like they were just relieved to be there. This is, of course, different. It's an Origin game. But I think they know deep down they should have won that series in Perth. I know I'm not going to blame Zach Lomax with his boot.
They shouldn't have been 20-0 down in this. It's to start the game to begin with.
I can't explain why they were so flat. Have you ever seen a team so flat for an Origin decider?
And at no stage in that series did they look like they played as a team well. They never looked like they were. They looked clunky all the time. They were never in a rhythm. And even in game one, I think there was a false sense of reality because they weren't that good. Queensland were just woeful in game one. And New South Wales progressively throughout the series just got worse. And, like, you know, you and I both love Nathan Cleary, not just as a player. You know, his record at the Panthers speaks for itself, but as a person. So it's hard to be critical of someone we have a lot of respect for. But he didn't own the moment again last night. And Tom Dearden, I mean this in all respect to Tom Dearden, but he's half the player Nathan Cleary is. But in two games, he's won man of the match in game 3, won player of the series, and he's orchestrated a Queensland series victory. And Nathan didn't deliver. And the more we keep talking about this immortality and Nathan's going to be a future immortal, well, unfortunately, there are chinks in the armour at the Origin level that he cannot ignore. And Nathan will know that. Nathan doesn't have to hear this or see anything that we write to know that he hasn't delivered again. And that is going to be constantly the blemish in his resume, that he can't get the job done when it matters at Origin.
I rolled my eyes at that storyline leading up to Origin 3, believe it or not. I used to think, well, Nathan Cleary, he's won 4 premierships.
The best player in the game.
2023, he won that game on his own against Brisbane, that final 20 minutes. But sitting there last night, I started thinking, well, you know what, maybe there is a bit of a point there. I talk about the mood being upbeat in the sheds. Well, Nathan Cleary was one player that was beside himself. He spent about 10-15 minutes talking with his dad, Ivan, and his mum, Beck. You could just tell he was cut. We all know that he wears the results better than anyone, but he was there. We hit him up afterwards and I asked him that very question. That this narrative about you not owning the big moments in Origin, it's only going to continue now, given the result. And he was the first to put his hand up. He said, I get it, and it's hard not to disagree. He said, I'm my own harshest critic. He said, but what people are saying right now, it's correct. I haven't owned the big moments. I think that was his third decider that he's failed to sort of get the job done for New South Wales. It's not all on Nathan. Queensland did a brilliant job on him defensively last night. They rushed up on him. I keep thinking back to Canterbury and Cam Serrato. We should be blaming your mate Cam Serrato for giving Queensland the blueprint. They rushed up on Nathan and did an excellent job in that game a few weeks ago. Irrespective of that, Nathan said he should have reacted better. He should have been more proactive in sort of reading the defensive lines. But it's a shame. I mean, he's got 12 months now. It's not like a club game where he can dust himself off, rock up next week.
Yeah,
he knows.
And he should, like, there's no question marks over whether he should be back. Like, we know he didn't feature in last year's series. Mitchell Moses was there, led them to victory in the last 2 games. And rightly so, though, he was still first player picked this year. Laurie Daley wanted him in the team. And next year, despite this year's performances, he should be the first player picked. There's no doubt about it. He's the best player in the game. You got to go with him. But there's something there. There's something for Nathan. And if you knew what it was, you'd be able to fix it. But you can't deny the fact that's the case.
After I left the New South Wales sheds, I went looking for a free 4X in the Queensland sheds.
Yeah, you would.
And they actually ran out, believe it or not. They were giving out those White Claw mango drinks. I thought, that'll do me.
You're
That's
out.
only in Queensland.
You're out.
But I did grab Tom Dearden, and I posed him the question, if a Kangaroos team was picked tomorrow, purely based on form, you'd have to have Tom Dearden as the 7, not Nathan Cleary. He scoffed at that. He said, no, wait, Nathan Cleary is the best player in the game. He still is the best player in the game. He said, Origin, it's all about team, and we were just a better team on the night.
Well, that's the thing. And I wrote this today in the Sydney Morning Herald. Ivan Cleary's philosophy in coaching, I remember him talking about this to me when he started at the Tigers. He said, the star of the team is the team. That's his philosophy. And New South Wales on paper had all the stars. They had the best team, but they did not play like a team. And that's what Queensland did. They played so well as a football team, and I don't think they were that good in game 2. They were hopeless in game 1. But yesterday, they deserved that win. And for Billy to do what he did, to be honest, I laughed at the Shibasaki selection. Laughed at
We both did.
Robert Toya's selection.
We both did.
Laughed at the fact they got rid of Daley Cherry Evans. And it was a masterstroke in every way. And they deserve the series win. New South Wales, the question marks over Laurie Daley. I remember before, in his first tenure as coach, he won 1 from 5. But there was always this feeling like, yeah, but you're playing against the greatest Queensland team of all time. You're playing against Smith, Thurston, Cronk, Inglis, Slater. And this time the script had been flipped and he had the team that was the superior team. And it's hard to blame the coaching element of it, especially when Craig Bellamy is there as his consultant. But the pressure is on. That's now 1 from 6 for Laurie Daley.
Yeah.
And coming on the back of a series that Michael Maguire had led them to victory. That it is so fickle, Origin. The narrow margin between being glorified and vilified is so thin. And if he wins that series, suddenly he's, Loz, it was the fact that they had the greatest team of all time that he couldn't win. And now you start to turn around and you ask questions. Well, should he have been given a second chance? Did Dave Trodden, the CEO, was it a flawed process that resulted in him getting the job? We know they're close mates. Was that process flawed? Should they have gone out far and wide and spoken to more people? Because they didn't. In the end, it was a process designed to give Laurie the job. Should he? But also, can you argue with the fact he got the job? Because the candidates that were out there weren't many. So these questions come up as soon as you lose the series. You win, they go away, and you're a hero. Look at Billy Slater. Everyone was saying that Billy Slater, in the last 2 years, I know we did the CEO's poll and the chairman's poll in the Herald. Everyone was voted. He won 2 years in a row. If you could hire a coach that is not currently a head coach in the NRL, who would you appoint? Billy Slater's won 2 years in a row. But after game 1, everyone's saying, maybe it's time for him to go. Maybe it's time he's starting to feel the pressure, making those Paul Green comments. But no.
That was game 2.
That was just game 2. And all of a sudden,
game 2,
genius.
He called a snap press conference saying, I apologise for mentioning Paul Green with the press conference the day before. We all thought, Queensland get done today. Does Billy walk? He still had a year to go on his contract. They come out and win. He comes out and wins in Sydney last night. You've got to remember Laurie Daley. I was actually surprised by the storyline whether Laurie's under pressure. It's his first series in charge.
Well, you're always
You
under
made
pressure.
mention it. He's surrounded himself with some of the best, sharpest minds of the game. Craig Bellamy, a legendary coach. Frank Panisa, we all know. Gilbert Anoka, the All Blacks mental skills coach. Matty King, Brett White, Dean Young. We're talking a really good team. He's picked the best players. He's got the best coaching staff.
Yeah.
I think he's waking up this morning scratching his head thinking, what the hell happened last night?
How
do I explain that flat start? Yes, Queensland were great. They were error-free for the best part of an hour, more than an hour. They just simply got outplayed. Laurie's got 2 years.
Yep.
He's got next year.
Yep.
If he loses next year, I think Laurie won't even have to front the press. I think he'll know. He'll just walk.
Yeah, I don't think he should be punted now. I'm not calling for his sacking, but if he loses next year, at the end of the day, he made a comment. I heard him in the press conference. Shout out to Jasper at AAP for asking the question, do you deserve to coach?
Where is Jasper from?
Yeah, Laurie didn't like it, but he reined himself in. You could see he was going to have a crack, but then he realised.
I think Laurie was trying to imply that, are you from Queensland?
Is that what it was?
That's what I can only ascertain. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think Laurie, he made the comment that, yes, he does deserve to come back, but then he made the point about, he asked him why, and he said, well, because what we've built this year. You don't have the luxury of building in Origin. It doesn't matter if you think you've had a good camp, if you think you're building a good culture. It is irrelevant to everything. The only thing that matters in Origin is the result. And everything else, no matter how good the preparation, goes out the window. So if he fails to deliver a result next year, he should be gone.
Again, that's what's got me confused, though. Like, you can understand a bad refereeing call. You can understand big injuries in the middle of a game. As I said at the start of this convo, we've spent the best part of 7 weeks around these players. We go to Lura. We rack up the mileage. We enjoy the Belgian hot chocolates. But you see these players, you get to know them, and you pick up on a vibe. If it's a happy camp, you know it, you see it, you hear it. I remember going out to see Billy Slater's press conference on Tuesday out of Parramatta. I was staying out there at the Park Royal, and just the mood in the hotel lobby, very quiet, not a lot of people sort of making conversation, whereas you go to New South Wales, they're bouncing off walls, high-fiving. I'm not saying that's a recipe for success, but purely if you're looking at two teams, two camps, who's the happy who's going into a game in a better frame of mind, it's New South Wales every day of the week.
But you expect Queensland to be subdued after the week that they had, Cameron coming back into camp after the passing of his father. So
yes,
I don't know. You can read into what you were like. I don't. They didn't play as a team. Whose fault is that? Is it Nathan's? Is it Laurie's? Is it Bellyache's? Is it yours? I don't know.
Chammy, we always hear about this Queensland spirit. I hate hearing it.
I know.
But I'm actually starting to think, you know what? It could be a real thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It has to be. We've got a brilliant team, but I don't know. We need to get a bit of that tonic from up north.
What do you make of the fact that New South Wales, the series on the line in Perth, I know we harp on it, but that first 40 minutes in Perth, do you think they felt after game one they were going to coast home? Because Queensland were ordinary. Do you feel like there was any sense of complacency whatsoever?
I even think in the second half last night when Stephen Crichton went over, by like 80,000 people sitting at the venue, I don't know whether you can call it arrogance, you can call it...
No, I'm with you.
I don't know what you call it.
What are you going to say?
I was just thinking...
They were coming.
We're coming home. We get another try here. I actually held off writing my newspaper report thinking, well, you can't discount New South Wales. They're going to come home here. They'll just win it. Well, they're going to make us sweat, but they're going to come home and win.
You held off writing your newspaper report because you don't know how to write, but that's another story altogether.
But we sat there. You know what I mean? Like I just had this. I felt this sense that New South Wales, they are the superior team.
For sure.
They almost got home in Perth, and we all assumed they were going to storm home over the top of Queensland and Sydney. It just didn't happen. It's a bit like I've been taking a bit of a vested interest. This is a bit of a plug here. Adam Reynolds, I've ghosted his book, which is coming out in October. All good bookshops.
Well written.
But I've started following Brisbane very closely. Even last year, I just thought Brisbane, you're just waiting for them to hit their straps. They're going to hit their straps, not this week. Okay, they'll come good next week.
Yeah.
It's the same deal with New South Wales. They just didn't hit that top gear.
You felt like when Crichton went over in that second half, you thought, okay, here we go. This is
clapping
Nathan Cleary's moment now.
Here we go.
This is Brisbane 2024 grand final all over. 24? 23 grand final all over again. And you felt like the stage was being set for him to orchestrate one of the great Origin comebacks. Didn't pan out that way, unfortunately.
Spoke with Billy last night. I had a lovely conversation with him. I'll come back to that. But he did say what allowed them to play so well, they played an upbeat tempo. And it was mentioned in the commentary by his good mate Cam Smith. They completed at such a perfect
incredible
rate. And when you complete your sets, you've got plenty of energy in defence. They were rushing up in New South Wales' face all night, made life misery. Bloody Queenslanders.
I know.
We are flat, aren't we?
I can't handle yippee. I just can't handle the song.
Yippee, whatever.
I hate that song.
Get back on the plane.
I know. Anyway, you mentioned something earlier about if you had to pick an Australian team, and you asked Dearden that question. It got me thinking, I think we should pick a team of the series.
Who have you got?
Well, I don't know. We're going to discuss this at the moment.
Billy's coach.
Well, Billy's coach,
Are we including
no doubt.
The coach?
No doubt. Your journo of the tournament, of the series. I think fullback, given the fact that they had Kalen, and Kalen wasn't really good in the first two games. Hammer was great last night, but you can't give him fullback of the series. And
has to be Dylan.
Has to be Dylan, but he wasn't convincing. But I'd probably go Dylan.
Down on his run meters, but just gets through so much work.
Yeah.
So much work. And if your team's trailing 20-0 the best part of two games, you're not exactly making inroads in the attack.
Is he guaranteed Australian fullback, though?
He's a very good player. He's a 4-time premiership winner. I know he's excellent at Penrith. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a walk-up start with these rep teams, but he's a top-quality player. Too many good players speak about Dylan Edwards in rarefied air. So,
so we've got Dylan at fullback then. We'll leave him there.
Dylan, D. Edwards, number one.
All right.
Wingers. Brian To'o.
You can't go past To'o.
And Zach Lomax apart from his kicking boots. Again, we talk about Laurie. Zach packs his kicking boots. Laurie's a hero.
You put in Lomax ahead of coach? You probably have to. Lomax was outstanding the first two games.
Centres, tricky one.
Ooh, yeah. I think Rob Toyer deserves a start. He's been fantastic. That selection was brilliant. The move he put on yesterday to get past the trail down that corner. I'm going to go Rob Toyer. You can pick the other centre, mate. Who else did Queensland have? They had Shibasaki for one game, Holmes for the other game, and what was the other centre that they had?
I have a lot of respect for Latrell. a lot of respect for Stephen Crichton. I thought Latrell looked frustrated last night. They did a great job on him defensively. Latrell was great defensively all series. We just never saw him in open space attacking like we're used to seeing him in clubland. Stephen Crichton, arguably the best centre coming into this series, very quiet. The longer the series went, I know there's only 3 games, the quieter he got, I felt. He started with a bang last night, but then just went missing.
Yeah, he did. He didn't have a good series.
So to answer
Stephen
your question,
Crichton.
I don't know.
I'm going to go the Hammer then. I'm going to give Hammer the centre spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who have we got? D. Edwards, B.
To'o
Bizza.
and Lomax on the wing, Toya and Hamaso in the centres. I'm going to go 5'8". You can't argue it's got to be
himself.
Munster. And the halfback, all is the Wally Lewis medalist,
Tom Dearden.
Tommy Dearden.
Geez, the Blues are looking a bit light on here.
Front row.
Payne Haas.
He has to be there. Payne Haas in the front row.
It's amazing what he was able to do last night.
Yeah. Oh, the whole
I know.
series. He's incredible, mate. He's
A
incredible.
limited
what he can do.
preparation. He's back. For all the Brisbane fans, it's highly unlikely he will play.
You think that.
this
I asked
Sunday.
Laurie the question after the game about the fact they've been disrupted with injuries in the lead up to every game. Did that sort of affect their ability to play as a team? But really, if you're missing a prop and you're missing a winger in training, as they were To'o and Haas, does it make that much of a difference to your preparation?
No. And they'll be on the short list to be the Brad Fittler medalists too, both of them.
Who's your other prop? We got Haas. I think you got to go probably. Is it Tino?
Tino, correct.
And Harry Grant's your
Harry
hooker?
Grant, yep.
All right.
Liam Martin.
You love
on back
Liam
row
Martin. Does he
spot.
deserve it, or are you just picking him because
No,
you
he was
man
great,
crush on him?
and he played with. I don't think it was a broken hand. I wrote on Sunday he's good for a finjury, a fake injury, but he was in all sorts. His hand sort of blew up a bit.
Broken hand, you think?
But he came out with no strapping. You could see he was impacted. And these players, they're good at hiding any injuries, any
Yeah.
pain. But when Liam Martin's in back play for 2 or 3 sets trying to get his hand strapped, he knew he was on all sorts. But still, he was excellent. He was excellent in 1. He was excellent in 2. He's one spot.
Back row, we're going to go Cotter. You're going to go Capewell.
I'll go Ruben.
Yeah, I think Cotter deserves the
Ruben
spot.
was good.
Yeah,
Very good in
hard to
Perth.
argue with you there on Ruben Cotter.
Like Isaiah.
Wasn't very good in game 1, but
Isaiah
bounce back.
tried his heart out. It's always good for those.
yeah,
4th and 5th
I'm
run
not
carries.
convinced, but yeah, he probably gets the spot. I think, yeah. Well, let's not go a bench. Let's just pick the 1 to 13. Let's go through it. Dylan Edwards at fullback, To'o and Lomax on the wing, Toya and Hamaso in the centres, Munster Dearden in the halves, Haas and Tino up front, Grant, hooker, Liam Martin and Cotter in the back row with Isaiah Yeo at lock. That gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Queenslanders, 6 Blues with a coach, Billy Slater. I think that probably is fair.
Good at maths. I was trying to work out 7 plus 6 then.
Yeah, no,
Well done.
not your strong suit, I imagine. But I look, of those players, if you pick an Australian team, Haas won't probably be there, play for Samoa. Tino looking at playing for Samoa. Apart from that, everyone else you'd imagine would play for Australia. Maybe Hammer play for Samoa as well.
I think
Oh,
it
no,
was-
and Brian To'o as well.
It was 10 Samoans.
So there's 4 potential players not in that team.
10 Samoans in action
Yeah.
last night in the middle of a call.
And who's your coach, mate? They're very tight-lipped, the commission. There was a meeting on Wednesday about what
heard
they
about
do.
this.
The commission weren't giving very much away as to which way they would go. Do they go with a neutral coach like a Kevy Walters or a Cameron Smith? Or do they change the rule and open it up to someone like Wayne Bennett, a club-aligned coach, getting the job? I hope they go Wayne Bennett. I think the rule, someone like Wayne could do it. Souths are happy for him to do it. And I don't think he's going to... He hasn't been involved in Queensland camp like it's 2020, what was it, 2020 or 21 that he was coach?
2020.
So I don't think there's going to be an element of bias towards Queensland, and his South Sydney coach, he's got some players there. I hope it's Wayne Bennett. What do you think will happen?
You're right. I think it'll be Wayne Bennett. If it's not Wayne, it'll be Kevin. I know there's a bit of a push for Cameron Smith, but what are his coaching credentials? I'm sure he could do it, but just to play it safe, you want someone that's been around that representative arena. Kevy has done it with Queensland. And if PVL, if he gets his way and he changes this rule about having a club coach doubling up on the international arena, I think it's Wayne Bennett's for his job to knock back. And you're right, it's at that time of year, he's only going to miss a few weeks of pre-season training with South Sydney, and Wayne never he parachutes in the new year anyway. He leaves it to his assistants to whip the players into
It's a bit
shape.
like me. I take holidays in November, December, and leave it to you to just do the hard work
Is that all
until
you
I
do?
come back from
I
holidays.
thought you just went in. I've just realised your pattern. You're very scattergun. When you come in, you fire off 4 or 5 bullets, very good bullets, always hit your target, and you just go vanishing. You wait for the pat on the back for the next 3 weeks, and then you vanish.
I recover from the shots fired in return, and then I come back again.
What about little battlers like me, just taking hit up after
Mate,
hit up?
you're the Sean Fensom of this Herald newsroom. I appreciate your time as always, Nico. We'll be back with some more episodes of 40-20 as we head into the finals later on in the year. So we'll see you then.
Ciao.